Okay, so we are talking today about getting ready for kinder,
Yes.
and this is our little wonderful evening informational on everything that has to do with kinder. I guess let's introduce ourselves, right? I am Lina Acosta Sandal. I am the owner and founder of Stop Parenting Alone, and that is a parenting and therapy center in Miami, Florida. The whole process and the whole thought process behind the space is that with the right information, parents always make the right choices for their children. So, like tonight, sharing about kinder and how to be ready for it is me doing that service exactly, and that's what we do here all the time. So, if you're interested in knowing more about us, just follow the link. That you see here on your page, and then you can see more about our website. So Nicole, tell us about the wonderful, amazing things that you do for our community.
Hi there. Hi, Dina. Thanks so much for having me here so we can do this Kinder Talk together. So I'm Nicole Santamaria, an occupational therapist here in Miami, Florida. I'm the founder of Miami Handwriting, and OT for Real Life. Um, I really love to work with the children and the families, and it's really important for me to work as a team. And I love to work with Lena and Stop Parenting Alone. So you can always find me at miamihandwriting.com. And I would love to hear more from you guys. I always invite everybody to send me an email, find me on Instagram and Facebook, so let me know what you guys want to learn about. And today we're going to be talking about kinder and transitions and routines to help it go smooth as possible for everybody.
Breaking
So,
up. Hold on a minute.
doing
Did
good.
you?
I can hear you
You're
just fine.
okay. Awesome.
I don't see any comments from anybody, but I'm guessing they can hear us.
They can hear us. So if you're out there
I,
in outer
I
space,
can hear
that's why it's hard when we're so used to presenting in front of people, and it's like this is just random. It's just the two of us. We're having a conversation, which is kind of nice.
you.
So, so we're gonna walk you through, thinking about kindergarten and thinking about your little person. And the first thing that I really want to say for everyone that's watching us right now is, oh, hello, Miss Annie Buraglia. I love you. So, is that your children? For your children, this is one of the biggest transitions in their little trajectory, in their little human trajectory. So it's important for you guys to kind of see the weight of it and to see how important it is that that they feel safe, um, that they feel like they know what they're about to do. And also, I want you as parents to give it weight, to be able to just kind of understand that first you have a kindergarten transition, then you have a middle school transition, then you have a high school transition, and then off they go to college.
Yep.
Or my children, hopefully they will go travel the world, because I'm not too keen on college. So controversial.
Yes.
Anyway,
That's another
so
topic for a video.
that's a whole
Yeah,
other
that's
topic
more of
when
a
we
topic.
talk to teenage parents. So, what's important to really hold in mind throughout this is that both you and your child are going through a very big developmental and life transition. And I want everybody to hold that in mind as they think about moving forward. So, the first thing that you're going to have to do in kindergarten and for the rest of your time in school with your children is to advocate for them.
Oh yes,
So,
yes.
what does that mean? Well, first, hopefully you have chosen a school that their values and their culture matches yours as well. School is the place where children learn about uh, different things. They learn about different families, different races, different ethnicities. And whatever place you put them in, that place is going to walk into your house. right? So it's important for you guys to hopefully you did the homework and you figured out a good place. Now, if you didn't, because you're just going to your local public school, a way to advocate for your children is to become aware and involved with what is happening with the school district. There is an amazing program, and I know that in the comments we gave information on PS 305. PS 305 is a local group, and they go to the school board meetings and they take notes and they send it to you. So make sure to get on their mailing list so that you can do that. But the other way that you advocate, yes, is very important. So that it's in the comments. It's in the comments, and it's really important because, when you need to know what the school system is doing and the choices that they're making. And, a lot of parents always tell me, and I don't know if you hear this as well, Nicole, well, I don't want the teachers not to like me. I don't want, because they don't like me, then they mistreat my child. That's just not a good attitude to have. If that's the case, you maybe want to think about the teacher.
Right. You shouldn't feel that your teacher's not going to like you because you communicate with her. Most teachers actually really appreciate a parent, obviously, that's respectful in their communications and concerns, because that helps them in the classroom.
Right. And that puts us to the great next topic that Nicole knows to talk about best, because she spends a lot of time with teachers, especially in the elementary school system. And I spend a lot of time with preschool teachers, but Nicole spends a lot of time with the elementary school teachers. So tell us about perspective, Nicole.
Yes. So perspective is huge. And I feel that I'm really lucky because I get to spend a lot of time with the parents and I get to spend a lot of times with the teachers during the trainings. And if I'm ever in a school, I'm like boots on the ground in the classroom because that's where the child would be struggling. And I can promise 99.9% of the teachers, they have the best interest of your child in their classroom. The best interest that may not match sometimes with what you want or what your perspective is at home. But I feel that if you guys believe me, believe me, I'm not lying to you. If you come to the approach and drop off your little person in school knowing that this teacher is going to have the best interest of your child, it's going to make it so much easier for you to come up to them with concerns, because it's going to lend itself to problem solving. It's going to lend itself to, this is what's happening at home. Do you see this in the classroom? Yes, I do. Mrs. Smith says, hey, try this. It's more of a perspective of we're a team and this is the problem that we're going to try and work together, versus she does everything different than I do at home. She doesn't understand little Johnny. And then all of a sudden it's a blame game.
Yep.
And unfortunately, most of the time it works out, but that child is in that classroom for the whole school year. So it's in everybody's interest to approach it with a problem solving as a teamwork. Oh, there's a comment from Jenny.
Hi, Jenny. Jenny has an amazing school in our community called Roig Academy, and she says a great thing. Open lines of communication from the start is key. Yes, Jenny, 100%. Couldn't agree with you more. Absolutely. And I'll say something for the parents out there. If you are jealous of your teacher, that is a really good thing, okay? It's a good thing that you're jealous of her. You're jealous of her because your child loves her. And if your child loves her, that means that your child is safe, that your child is happy, that your child has a secure base in the classroom. So remember that teachers are raising your children with you. So the more that you have them on your team, the better it is for all involved. Here's another question that I get often, and I don't know, I want to hear about this when we talk about perspective and we talk about, remember that a teacher's on your team and communication is important. A lot of parents ask me, let's say that a child has a speech impediment or a child has some kind of sensory, right? Some kind of issue, right? And they're always like, well, should I tell her?
Which is a developmental issue. It's a developmental issue, yes. Yes, I just had that conversation today, and I was it's totally off topic, but I was going to totally bring it up. Yes, it makes life so much easier. Forget about the teacher, forget about you, but it makes life so much easier for the student when they can be supported throughout the day. There's no point in getting them a developmental optometrist if you don't share that with the teacher, because
Yep.
the teacher doesn't know that they can't copy from far, that they need near copying. There's no point in going to a neurologist or your occupational therapist or your speech therapist if you don't share that with the teacher. She's like the queen of the classroom for the 6 hours your child is in school. You want her
Right.
to be on board. You want her to be empowered with the most information. I'm going to share this quick story. I had a little boy who hated art class. I pick him up from art. The teacher's like, oh, he has such a hard time. Da, 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 da. He doesn't want to follow directions. And I was like, oh, did you know that Johnny has a real big tracking problem and he cannot copy from the board? So when you're giving the instructions all the way over there and he's sitting here, he has a really hard time following along with that. She's like, oh, I never knew. Nobody shared the information with me. And I knew the information was on file. It was in the school file, but maybe they shared it with the main teacher, but they didn't share it with the extras. And all of a
Yep.
sudden her perspective changed, because it wasn't, oh, little Johnny's being lazy, which that's a whole other video we should do. Or
Yeah.
little Johnny didn't want to try, or little Johnny hates art. No, it's just little Johnny, like, he gets lost from across the room copying from the board. So let's put everything in front of him. So yes, communication.
Yeah. Communication is key, and it's what you're saying. If we don't give the information, if as professionals, there's something else that Jenny said. Thank you, Jenny. Jenny, remember, from Roig Academy. It's
There she
important for
is.
all the professionals to be speaking to one another, and we are one big team, because you don't ever want your child's delay, behavioral issue, emotional issue to be seen by the people that are helping him as a problem. So remember, your teacher wants to be part of your team. So, okay, so what are the quick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to-dos from now until the first day of school? I know that some private schools are starting next week. My son is starting next week. My little fourth grader. I have a fourth grader. I'm a mommy too. And the public school starts on Monday, August 21st. In case some of you didn't know, that's when it starts. So what should you do for a kindergartner? So if you can, and this is not for all schools, but it is available for most of the private schools, is visit the school, go to the open house. I know that the private school that my son is going to has an open house, and they get to meet the teacher and they get to go in the classroom. So that's a good thing. But let's pretend that your child is going to a public school, and a lot of public schools don't have open houses. It's still okay to drive there, take pictures, walk around the campus and say, this is where you're going to kindergarten, and look at the building, show it to them. Now, don't do it too much ahead of time, because we don't want them to get anxious. But, if school starts on the 21st, then maybe you can go with them to the school on the Thursday before, and you can show them the building, and you can show them what it's going to be like, and you can show them the parking lot. And the Thursday before, there's a teacher working day. I'll pretend I didn't say that. So you may just maybe be able to sneak into the classroom, but be polite, and they remember that they're working and they're getting the classroom ready, and they probably don't want your baby to see the classroom, but at least you could at least walk into the building. So children need narration and prediction. What does that mean? Okay, so you have a new job. Let's put all of you adults in that are watching us, all of you. Think about, you have a new job, and before you go to your new job, you're starting to think about, what are you going to wear? What are you going to take, the 836, or are you going to take US1? You're planning. You're thinking, you're wondering about it. You're thinking about what you're going to have for breakfast. Now, this is also true for kids, but they can't do that for themselves. They can't plan. They can't think. So some of the things that you have to wonder with and answer these questions for your children. And again, it's in the comments below so you can read along with me. I want you to let your children know, why are they going to kindergarten? You're going to kindergarten because now is the time when you're going to start learning to be a student. Keep this in mind. You are learning to be a student. That is the number one thing that your kiddo needs to know in kindergarten, to learn how to make friends, to learn how to be a student, and to begin basics of what they're going to do for the rest of their time in elementary school. Answer to them how they will get to class, right? Read the student handbook. Go to the website of the school. They have student handbooks. Go to the public school parent portal.
Scary, huh?
It is really scary. It's about if it's public school, it's huge. But skip to the parts about time.
Yes.
Skip to the parts about uniform. Skip to the parts, the zero tolerance stuff is super scary. You don't have to worry about that in kindergarten. But tell them what's going to happen. Mommy is going to wake you up. Mommy is going to make you breakfast. Daddy is going to dress you. Whatever is going to happen. Or, mommy and mommy are both going to take you to school. And how will they get to class? How will they be there? Find out about drop-off if you can. Email somebody at the school. Call the front desk. They will tell you. Also, predict the different feelings that they might feel. You might be scared. You might miss me. A lot of you don't want to tell your children that they're going to have hard feelings to feel, because they're not bad feelings. They're hard feelings to feel. There's easy feelings to feel and hard feelings to feel. Get used to saying that to your children. And make sure that when you're doing that, you let them know, you might miss mommy. But when you miss mommy, and then that's when you can do you can draw a heart, like The Kissing Hand. That's such a good book. I love that book. It's one of my favorite books for young children in this phase. You can give them a little something to put in their pocket, right? So when you miss me, you can put your hand in your pocket. Don't let them take something big, because that's just going to get them into trouble at school.
Yes.
And kindergartners are not supposed to take big things unless they tell you that they can. There's certain schools that you can do that, but not in the public school system if your child is in the public school system. But predict for them both good and bad feelings that they might feel, hard feelings to feel and easy feelings, and tell them what they can do with those feelings when they are in school. Maybe you tell them that they can go to the bathroom and wash their face after they ask the teacher. Maybe you tell them that they go up to teacher and say, I miss my mommy. But give them guidance on what to do with those feelings, and tell them what will happen when you pick them up from school. Tell them whether they're going to go to aftercare and they're going to go play a sport. Predict all these things. And why you're doing that is, what's important is that you are predicting of what is going to happen. So that's also really, really good. And know that, make sure to go to all the open houses, all the back to schools, so you get to know this teacher. And Rebecca is giving that advice as well. Anything that you would add or anything that you would say?
Is that for me?
Yes, Miss Nicole.
I thought we were waiting for Rebecca. Yeah, actually, I was lucky enough that my son's public school always had back to school meet and greet, and I had all my other kids go through it, so I knew all the teachers. Like, I knew the principal. Like, I would drop him off with my eyes closed because it was such a wonderful place. But we always made the effort to go because it was good for them, and it was a very important part of their back to school, of getting to meet the teacher and see who's in the class. And the teachers give a lot of information. We give it to them again once they get there, but it's always good for them to get it a second time.
Yes.
I did want to add to this, as far as like practicing and planning. One of the things that the kids may have a hard time with is they're going to walk into a classroom with maybe 12, 16, 20, 25 new, unpredictable 5 and 6 year olds. Yep. And some of them might just be like, all right, I'm just gonna love this. And some of them might be like, there's too many different little people in here with me. I don't know any of them. So just like you're gonna practice how you're gonna feel, I'm gonna miss mom. What am I gonna do? Where's the bathroom? Maybe even practicing a little bit of that, role playing with how are you gonna make friends with a little person when you get playtime, or even that self talk that's so important. Okay, I wonder who I'm gonna end up having lunch with, or going through some of that stuff with them, because the social part for them is a big, especially for that kinder 5, 6 year old, because they're very much
Yep.
aware that they have a bunch of new
Yep.
people. Then they're all pretty much unpredictable that first couple of days and weeks of school. So that's a good practice for them also.
Role play is, we do that a lot here in our, we do that in our social emotional family groups with our school age. We role play with them all the time, and it's a really fun thing to do. You also get to hear how they get stuck,
And it's
and
really
what to
empowering
say.
for them because they get to
Yes.
practice it. And they get to practice
Yes.
with you, and you can pretend to be the little girl that doesn't want to play with them, or you can be the little girl that's like all over them and wants to be their best friend. And they're like, whoa, I don't want to play right now. I think kinder, they still do have their recess and free play time. So
Yeah, it's
hopefully.
true. It's really,
They
really
still,
important.
yeah.
It's really, really important. And the children, they want to know, they really cannot, they don't have the cognition to think ahead. We have to be the ones that think ahead for them. We have to be the ones that give them, the resource and the ideas of how to do it and when to do it. And everybody, children between the ages of 5 to 7, one of the social emotion developmental milestones is to understand the social norms and the social rules. So all of them are going to be practicing being friends, and all of them are going to take on different roles in that. So this is the time when somebody's going to tell your child, you're not my friend. I don't want to be your friend anymore. Right. And that doesn't make that other kid a bully.
Right. Yes.
It just makes it so that they're all trying on different aspects of being social and being a friend. I'm looking at some of the comments, and I want to share what Barbie shared. So Barbie shared that at her school, the Friday before school starts, they can they invite the people to her school, and you can take and nice, and it provides the children with a school. Barbie, what school are you at? That sounds amazing. Where are you? Right, and then they can share.
I think this is Barbie from La Escuela. I don't know that picture. I can't tell if it's her, but I think it's Barbie Perez from La Escuela. I was just there last week. Is that
right.
you, Barbie?
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Is that Barbie from La Escuela?
Yeah. Let's just say it is.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah. Okay, perfect. So we have a good question. So Chanel asks that her child is going to be in this ginormous 36-child classroom with 2 teachers. So do you have any advice as to prepare her for that adjustment? Well, it depends on the personality of your child, Chanel. So if your child is one of those that kind of leans on, being cautious and being observant, you can let her know that it might be too loud. And you can let her know that if it gets too loud, that she may need to ask assistance from the teacher. If your child is a highly distractible child, somebody that kind of has a really hard time doing what's in front of them, tell them, remember that when teacher talks, we look at teacher. Because if there's 36 children talking and you have this highly distractible little person, then it's important that you teach your child to begin to work on looking at the teacher. Parents, 5-year-olds, 36 of them together. That's chaos and crazy. And allow your child to mess up a lot. The first 45 school days, okay? Let them be on red. Let them be not good. Tell them we are practicing to be a student. So what Chanel, what your daughter, you didn't say what, I just assumed it was a girl. What she's going to go through is difficult, but it depends on your child. If it's a highly distractible child, tell them, remember when teacher talks, you look, You look at teacher's mouth. You look, be specific, right?
That's a good practice, and being specific, I was just going to add, that is very important.
Yes, yes.
And they're going to have two teachers, so whichever teacher is on is the one that they should
Is the
cue
one,
into.
right, right. And I would say that, if at the 45-day mark you find that your child is still crying, is still upset, make sure to give us a call, or give Nicole a call, because it's important for you to help your child become a good student. So just for the first 45 days, forget the letters, forget the words. I know that the teachers that are listening to me are probably going, what are you saying? But those first 45 days is about them adjusting into what it means to be a student. So make sure that you answer that question. Anything you'd want to add, Nicole?
Yeah, that 45-day giving parents permission, I've really talked to some parents about it, and it just gives them parents like, okay, they're practicing being a student. They shouldn't be perfect and get the routine since day one. It really gives them permission to just kind of help their child through the journey versus instantly expecting them to magically fit in because these are the rules that are set in place. And I really feel that I like the 45-day period. Thank you, Jenny. I really feel that the teachers kind of agree with the 45-day period. I've talked to teachers and they know that it's a transition and it's a journey. And I feel sometimes us as the parents, we have a hard time, we don't want our child to be the one falling behind, or our child being the one not knowing where to put his backpack. With that being said, keeping in mind the perspective, if there are bumps in the road, where you may have a teacher that expects a 21-day grace period and your child is on that 45-day track. Remember, stick to the problem-solving strategy versus the blame strategy. And that's going to help everybody get through this.
And stick to you are practicing to be a student rather than you are bad because you are not listening. They're not bad. This is brand new to them. They are practicing to be a good student and get into the habit of saying there's a reset and tomorrow you're going to do better. Annie made a great point about those kiddos that get really, really overwhelmed. Those kiddos that this get there early. If school starts at 8:25, those kiddos that need time, please, you start at 8:15. You don't start at 8:25. A lot of children that are observant, those children that people like to call shy. By the way, if it were up to me, shy would not be in the dictionary. They're not shy. They take their time. They observe. They slowly move into a setting. They take their time, right? If you have one of those little kiddos, your time to be at school is 10 minutes before they're supposed to be there, or as soon as the teacher allows you to go into the classroom, which is usually about 10 minutes before school starts. Okay, so let's keep going. Barbie agrees with you, Annie. And I love you, Annie. It's so nice that you're here.
Super helpful for children.
It's very, very helpful.
We didn't have that on any of our notes, so I'm really happy that you guys brought that up, because it does help, versus the chaos of from the car to run down the hallway to we don't want to get a late pass. They're there on time. And sometimes drop-off is chaotic. In some of the schools, and it's nice to kind of be there with them until they walk into the classroom, and it helps kind of set the tone for the day versus starting the day off in chaos.
Okay, so routine. Routine.
Dun, dun. Here we go.
So routine. Not everybody likes routine, but it's in the top 3 things of good parenting. 3. 1, be sure about your rules. 2, be mindful of your routine. And 3, whomever you are caregiving with, make sure you are a team, whether you have a parent number 2 or abuela or a nanny, or that's the golden 3. Rules, routine, be on the same page. And remember, the teachers become part of your caregiving team. So routine. What can I say? Start a week before. So what do you need to do in the routine? Adjust the bedtime. Uh, Wake them up when they're supposed to get up. It's summer. Some of you have been putting your babies to sleep at 10. And you're wondering why they're falling apart at 9. It's summer. Remember that meltdowns and sleep deprivation are synonymous. Uh, Children between the ages of 4 and 6 need between 10 to 12 hours of sleep in a 24-hour cycle, right? So if they're not getting that amount of sleep, then you are sleep deprived. And sleep deprivation for children usually creates challenging behavior. So it's important to do that. Begin to think about what you're going to prepare for them for breakfast. I am not a nutritionist. It is out of my scope of practice, but I have read a lot of studies, and that recently have come out that protein and fat is a good thing to give children in the morning. So think about what you're feeding them in the morning. I know that some are drinking Pediasure in the morning and you're having a hard time with eating. And, I know that some of you are bribing your children with donuts in the morning, but you have to think about that. If they didn't sleep and they didn't eat well, they're not going to be able to be alert at school. So this week before, start shifting from the pastelitos and the donuts and the bagels in the morning to something more nutritious. That's why I want you to do it a week ahead so that they can fight with you the week before. So then by Monday, they may already accept it. But here's the other rule. Just like there's a 45-day school rule, anytime you introduce something new to your child, if you haven't done it consistently for 3 weeks, you cannot tell me that it didn't work. A lot of you try a new meal 1 or 2 times. A lot of you try a new sleeping plan 1 or 2 times. And then you're saying, oh my God, and he won't do it. And then you're really, really upset. And then you call me and you're like, my child is bipolar. And that's none of the above. It takes time. And the key is be consistent. Consistent, consistent, consistent. Routine, consistent. Rules, consistent. And you and whomever you're caregiving with to be consistent with the rules. Now, the week before, and Jenny offered a good book that she thought was good for kids in an earlier. Yes, Jenny's freaking out. 3 weeks. Yes, I like to tell parents 3 weeks is the rule. Changing up rules. It's 21 days. That's how long it takes our brain to capture something and make it a habit. And you are doing the habit, and your child is doing the habit. So get kindergarten books. Later on in the night, we are going to give you a texting and a link to follow so that you can get all this information in writing. So, and in that information, you're going to have this information about these books. But some really great books to get that you can read in that week before. One of them is called Miss Bindergarten Gets Ready for Kindergarten. I love that book. And then what books do you like, Nicole?
The Kissing Hand is always what it's called, The Kissing Hand, The Kissing Hand is the great
Yes.
one. Is that the right name? No,
Yes.
Kissing Hand. It's been a long time. And I just think just having the conversations for them to prepare them are really the most important things. To prepare, and they also prepare you, because you're trying to prepare them, but you're really trying to prepare yourself too. There's a little video somewhere of the mom dropping off at school, and she's like, she's a stay-at-home mom, and she's like, but what am I going to do? The teacher doesn't know he needs like 27 snuggles a day and that he needs his nose blown. So all this preparation that we're preparing our students, a lot of us, we're preparing ourselves as well, so we can kind of both be okay with the transition. I had written down a lot of times the teachers really give the parents a lot of good information during the open house on how to prepare them and how to get them ready from school. So getting the teachers' routines as well, like what happens during drop off. Are you able to drop off and walk into the classroom with your little person and do like a sign-in activity? Or do you have to drop off at the door? Or do you have to drop off in the car and not get off school? Because some campuses don't let parents walk onto school. Some campuses have an open door policy. So that's really important. And that's kind of usually like a school rule. So whether or not you are okay with dropping off your little person at the car and kiss goodbye, that's something that really should be practiced also, because we can't have 65 hugs and kisses and we have a whole carpool line behind us. So talking about all those things is going to be key to getting them ready for that morning transition.
Yeah, and my daughter's second grade teacher and my child's second. I love you, Miss Emsid. Mwah, mwah, mwah. She recommends everybody to get Llama Llama, Mrs. Mama. That is a great book. And in that whole idea of predicting how you feel, Llama Llama, Mrs. Mama is a great book. And then again, Jenny Roy from Roig Academy, she's giving an also great advice that if you speak Spanish, get those books that you're reading at bedtime to your kiddos about kindergarten, get them in Spanish. Also, Daniel Tiger has school episodes. Elmo has school episodes. Just begin to play, do books. Those are really, really great ways to just keep it up and, so that your children understand that this process is happening. Another thing about the routine that is really, really important. And then, yes, First Day Jitters. Yes, Rebecca, I love that book. First Day Jitters is amazing. First Day Jitters is written by Julie Dannenberg. That is a great, great book. Let's see. We have a question from Annie. How do you balance talking to your kid about what's coming without creating a buildup and anxiety for the new phase? Well, while you're talking to them, if you notice that they're getting nervous, stop and wonder with them. The more I share this with you, and sometimes you guys think that it's a buildup and anxiety when they start asking you questions, and then every day they ask you a question. That's just them being kids. Curious. And the more they're curious, yes. So answer all the questions. Do not say, I already answered that. Just every time they ask you something, answer them. Why? Because their little brain is popping for them all the different scenarios that are going to happen when they start school. So, but that's why a lot of this stuff don't do until a week before school starts. So that's why we did the talk on August 8th, to give you guys time. Yes. Let's see. There's another question here from Clarice, and she asks, we are moving from a small Montessori school with lots of playtime, art, zero homework, and school is very open, but now you're going to a traditional school. How to prepare her for the adjustment and follow the rules of the school? Nicole, please handle this one. So she's going from an open more to a more traditional school.
Okay, I can definitely recommend a Montessori setting is going to be, I'm guessing you're going to either a traditional school or a public school. But the part here you mentioned about school is very open and upfront with parents. Oh, the new school you're going to is open and upfront with the parents if they're highly academic. I would definitely trust the process. Trust that your teacher is going to pick them up where they are and guide them to the next step. Emotionally, academically. It sounds like she's starting into kindergarten. Know that a lot of the children that are coming from these open settings, when they get to a highly academic traditional school, these kids are ready. They're ready to absorb all the information. They're ready to follow the rules. And sometimes because they have had all this open, free play, it doesn't mean that they haven't been learning. On the contrary, this open free play setting, research is showing us that is sets the children up to be ready to learn. So she might just do, if it's a she might just do great when she gets to this highly academic setting. As far as preparing for the homework, again, keeping in check with your teacher is going to be your number one guide. Teachers, I talk to a lot of them. I'm in a lot of classrooms. I'm in a lot of kindergarten classrooms. I talk with a lot of administrators. Teachers, believe it or not, feel that homework, especially for kindergarten, should be short and sweet. It should not be a long, painful process. Just as Lena was telling us to prepare our children with the morning routine, prepare yourself with the morning routine. Whether we're ready for this or not, we're going to do it because we've signed our children up for kindergarten and they are going to get homework. Some kindergarten teachers assign very little homework per day. Some kindergarten schools send home a packet. So it's going to happen. Let's just embrace it. Oh, hello. You see us. We're back. Yes, we're back. Let's embrace it. If you already don't have like a little craft area set up or an art area set up, now this week is the time to set one up. And you can call it a homework area. You can call it a learning area. You know, a lot of times the kids, you know, they see us working and they want to work like us. So, you know, mommy has her desk area here. You have yours here. Start setting it up. Invite them to be a part of the process. It kind of makes them involved, accountable. Embrace the homework. Exactly. I love it. What are we going to do? It's here. So have that space for them. Have them pick, you know, if they want to have glitter pens and sticker, let them get some of their favorite items there. You know, you want to have the basics, pencils, erasers, paper. You know, again, we're setting up the routine and the practice for them, and we're going to let them be involved. Another part of this piece is when they get home from their day, they need a break. And I know that, you know, you've talked about this frequently. They need like a real break. Sometimes they go to aftercare. Sometimes they go to soccer. Sometimes mom picks them up. Whoever is coming to get them, whenever before they attempt to do homework, they need like a little time to disconnect, to breathe, to roll around in the sofa, get some fresh air, not being told, you know, what to do, when to do it. Because even if they're at soccer or at ballet, they're still being told what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. And then here's the part where I need you guys to pay close attention. Figure out and observe what works best for your child. Even if you have other children, some children want to come home, you know, roll around for 15 minutes and they're ready to go and they want to knock it out. And some, it takes them a little bit longer to get. I'm not saying to let them pick when they want to do it because they do not know when they want to do it. Just observe, when do they do better? Do they do better with a short break and right after school? Do they do better with a long break, maybe right before dinner? Figure out and observe when your child is going to be most receptive to doing this. And it might be a trial and error. The one thing that you need to know is that they do need a break from school time to when they're expected to do homework. And now the part as far as the home learning. Again, I don't know if we got cut off. When I said this, I'm going to say it again. And this is something we need to hear a couple of times anyways. When I go out of the live video, back in. Well, I'm going to keep on talking. So all of our teachers, especially for this kindergarten age, and I've talked to the administrators, they feel that for kindergarten, home learning should be short and sweet. It shouldn't be a long, painful process for your little person or for you. All good now. Thank you, Clarice. Okay, good. So find an area, try and get them excited about the area. Try and figure out when is a good time for them. The only requirement is make sure that they do have a break between school time and homework time. And the third part is that the homework should be short and sweet. A lot of times I have clients that come to me and their biggest complaint is the homework time. It could be the mom that picks up that doesn't work, and she's like, oh, it just takes him forever to get the homework done. I just can't take it anymore. Sometimes, and this is for kindergarten, and sometimes it's the mommy that works and doesn't get to see them till 5, 6 o'clock, and they're like, oh my gosh, we come home and then they have to do homework. Everything
It's
okay?
not working.
Yeah, mine's not working.
Sure. I'm just talking to you.
Like, everything just frozen.
No sound. I got a text. Technical difficulties. Why don't we just, oh no, Karen's here. It is working. Clarice is here. It's working on and off. We'll just keep on going, right? Yep, we're on. Okay, back to the actual homework. Shouldn't be a whole long process. If it is, remember how we told you to make sure your teacher was part of the team, to communicate with your teacher. Oh, am I back? Or is that you changing the screen?
We're having difficulty with the video. So the best thing to do, I'm
Why don't
so
we just-
sorry, everybody. I know that some of you see both of us. There's questions about how long is ideal for what Nicole was speaking about.
So how long is short?
Important to. It's
I'm
important
just keep on
for you
answering.
guys to be mindful of the new things that you're doing, and it's important to be mindful of how to help out. So the last thing we need to talk about is the transitional book. Now, I rarely do this, but the transitional book is important because what's important about the transitional book is that we want to predict for children. And what does that mean? We want to predict for children what's going to happen for them. So the book needs to narrate and predict. So one, you tell a story of other schools and other places where that happened. Two, remind them about those past moments and about how it went and that it went well, right? So the transitional book is important because we want to create it with stick figures and pictures and things that they can do. So what's in the book? Pictures, letting them know before, now, and in the future. And there's a mommy that we love here at our school, and she did this book, and it's called Lionheart Goes to School. And a long time ago, and I don't want to take credit for this because she did this for herself. She came to my space and she was worried about her little guy, and she made this book for him. And this book is amazing, and it's out for sale. And we will later but this is kind of the idea, right? And you can buy it and you can personalize it for your kiddos.
Oh,
So
lovely.
it's important that you guys do this transitional book and look into this book because she did a great job with putting it all together and taking everything that I said in a session and creating a book that now you can purchase.
Nice.
And of course, my friend Caro is an overachiever, and yours can be a little more simple, but why not buy the book since it's good and it works. Just checking in to see, because I'm having some issues seeing if the rest of you can hear me. So everybody of you can let me know that you're hearing me and seeing me. If not, I may have to start and stop again. So let me know, because we're having, I know
I hear you fine.
it freaks me out.
Do you hear me?
So, okay. So the transitional book is important, and the whole point of it is what we were talking about before, the prediction. And then you can include it with the other books that you're reading with them at the same time. Okay, so what else can it, we're kind of reaching the 9 o'clock mark. I think that we've said a lot of great things for you guys. Remember that everything we talked about tonight, you can text the word kinder to 66866. Oh, Jenny, you're so funny. Don't stop. Luli's going, go, go, go. I'll keep going. I feel like I'm talking to myself because I can't even hear Nicole anymore. But
you can't hear me?
This is what, for your child to be socially and emotionally ready for kindergarten, right? This is how you know. And I want you to think clearly about your little people. Okay, they're still very, very little. They're only 5, right? But I want you to think about, do they have a sense of self? Can they handle autonomous tasks? Do they make choices? Can they problem solve? Do they take care of personal needs? Can they eat, dress, and toilet themselves alone? If they do that, oh, hi, Melissa. If they do that, then they are able and they are ready socially and emotionally for kindergarten. Now, want children to do, and they do it 4 out of 8 times. Only 40% of the time do the children do this perfectly all of the time. So what they must do is tolerate their frustration, control their impulses. 4 out of 10 times, not 100% of the time. A lot of you are asking your children to do it 100% time. They cannot do it 100% of the time. But the ability to label and name their emotions, that's emotional intelligence. And the capacity to calm themselves down. We need children to be able to do this 4 out of 10 times in a situation. And then that way, we know that they're ready socially and emotionally for kindergarten, but remember that they are going to keep doing that. And they're going to be continuing to build with that. So when you set a boundary and they cry and they're upset, you're helping them practice frustration. When you tell them no, you're helping them to use their impulse control. But know that they're also doing that at school. They are learning and changing and growing. So again, I know that all of you hear me. You hear me in California. You hear me. But I cannot see Nicole.
You can't see me. They hear me.
Down, and it's kind of crazy to me that you all still see me. So remember, if you text Kinder to 66866, we will send you this handout, and we will send you the information. Nicole, if you can hear me, because I can no longer hear you, please post your URL, because Nicole will also be sending information for all of you guys, the parents. Nicole is so very, very practical in everything that she does. And I am so happy that all of you came out tonight. It looks like there was like 70 something people that says that this is important. And remember that with the right information, you always make the right choices for your children. So Nicole, even though I don't hear you, this is your time to say goodbye to everyone, because now we're saying our goodbyes.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. She can't hear me. I'll thank her later. Thank you everybody for coming. The OT in me is gonna pop in here, and hopefully she's not gonna cut me off. She can't hear me. One thing we want to practice with them, practice the uniforms. It is so important. You don't know, when I walk through a school, I see so many little people walking out with their pants, trying to get them buttoned. Practice buttoning and unbuttoning. Practice putting their belts on and off through the loops. because this is something that they have to do all by themselves when they get to kindergarten. So add that onto your list. I don't think this is in our handout at all, practicing. So maybe if you got, when you get it, make sure you add on practicing to your uniforms for the little people to put their uniforms on and off. Okay, I feel like Lena's getting nervous here because she has no idea what I'm saying. I think she can see me, but she can't hear me. Anyways, thank you so much for coming. Go ahead and we'll follow up with a handout and maybe a couple of videos since we, oh yes, Yvonne is a kindergarten teacher. I think she's talking about the school pants, so absolutely. We'll be in touch. You can find us on miamihandwriting.com, stopparentingalone.com, and make sure you text in so we can have your emails and we can stay in touch. Smarty Pants Academy, we love messy. That's great. I saw a comment about the milk cartons. Cafeterias are another place. I feel like we could have like a whole
Okay, guys, I'm going to end the
broadcast.
broadcast because I can't hear anything.
She can't hear me. She
Okay,
has no idea.
remember,
Bye,
text the
everybody.
Kinder, get your
It was
handout. Jenny from Roig Academy, thank you for joining us. Thank you, Smarty Pants Academy. Susie, another great school in our community. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Barbie for joining us as a teacher. And Miss Emsid, thank you for being a beautiful teacher to my children. Good night, everybody. Luli, thank you. And everybody, if you have questions, keep posting them.
We'll get to them,
Tomorrow,
yeah.
I will find a block of time to answer questions on the comments of this feed. But remember, you are going to get a lot of information in your inbox if you text Kinder to 66866. All right, guys. Good night.